Be me, Jason Thomas, 24, work as barista at Morning Brew Cafe downtown. Been dating Lillian for 8 months now. She's 23, works as a social justice coordinator at Riverside Community College. Met her when she came in for her daily oat milk cortado. Always tips well and seemed cool at first. She's into all that feminist stuff, but I figured whatever. People have their interests. Plus, she's cute and seemed smart. Talked about equality and fairness a lot, which sounded reasonable. Thought she was just passionate about making the world better. Things were pretty good for the first few months. She'd come by the cafe during my shifts. We'd talk about books, movies, social issues. Felt like we had good chemistry. Sex was decent. She was fun to be around. But lately, I've been noticing some weird patterns. Like she always talks about splitting things equally. But somehow, I end up paying for most dates. When I mentioned it once, she said I asked her out, so I should pay. But when she asks me out, I still end up paying too. Anyway, yesterday, something happened that's got me all messed up. We're hanging out at her apartment after I got off work. Still smelled like coffee beans, and she kept making jokes about it. We're watching some documentary about women's rights. Her friend Sarah calls her all upset about something. Turns out Sarah's baby daddy Derek wants a paternity test. They had some drama, and now he's questioning if the kid is his. Sarah is crying on the phone about how betrayed she feels. Lillian gets all worked up listening to this, pacing around her living room, getting angrier by the minute. When Sarah hangs up, Lillian turns to me fuming, starts going off about how dare he question her, says it's insulting and misogynistic. I'm making supportive noises while she rants. But internally, I'm thinking, well, doesn't the guy have a right to know? I mean, if there was drama and he has doubts, seems reasonable. But I keep my mouth shut because she's clearly upset. She goes on for like 20 minutes about how asking for paternity tests is basically accusing women of being liars. Says it shows complete lack of trust and respect. Claims Sarah has been nothing but faithful to him. Calls it exactly the kind of toxic behavior that destroys relationships. I'm nodding along, but she can tell I'm not fully engaged. She stops mid-sentence and looks at me. Asks what I think about this whole situation. Oh shit, here we go. She's got that look like she's testing me. Try to be diplomatic. Tell her it sounds like a difficult situation for everyone involved. She narrows her eyes. Says that's not what she asked. Wants to know if I think Derek is right to demand a paternity test. Now I'm in a trap. If I say yes, I'm supporting the misogynist. If I say no, I'm being dishonest about what I actually think. Decide to try threading the needle. Say I think people should communicate better and trust each other more. She's not buying it. Tells me she needs me to be honest with her. Asks if I would ever ask for a paternity test. Long pause while I think about how to answer. Decide to be truthful but gentle. Tell her that, hypothetically, if there was a situation where I had doubts, I might want to know for sure. The temperature in the room drops about 20 degrees. She stares at me for a full 10 seconds. Asks if I'm saying I would question her faithfulness. Tells me that's incredibly hurtful and insulting. Try to backtrack immediately. Tell her no, I'm not talking about her specifically. Say I'm just talking in general, if there were reasons to doubt. She explodes at the reasons to doubt part. Getting loud now. Demands to know what possible reasons could justify questioning a woman about her own pregnancy. Asks if I realize how degrading and humiliating that is. Says I'm basically calling her a liar and a cheater. I'm trying to stay calm and explain. Tell her it's not about calling anyone anything. Point out that men don't have the same natural certainty that women do. Explain we can't physically know the way mothers can. Wrong answer, apparently. Her face goes completely red. Asks if I'm saying women are naturally deceptive. Wants to know if I think we can't be trusted to tell the truth about our own bodies. Tell her that's not what I said at all. But she's not listening anymore. She's pacing again, getting more agitated. Starts lecturing me about how this is exactly what she's talking about. Says men always want to control and question women's reproductive choices. Claims it's about ownership and patriarchal dominance. I'm getting confused because this escalated so fast. Try to bring it back to logic. Tell her I'm not trying to control anything. Say that wanting certainty about something that important isn't unreasonable. She goes off about certainty. Asks how about the certainty that I think she's a liar. Wants to know about the certainty that I don't trust her. She's almost yelling now. Neighbors are probably wondering what's going on. Try to lower my voice to get her to calm down. Tell her I do trust her. This isn't about her. Say we're talking about a hypothetical situation. She shouts that no, we're not. Points out that I literally said I would want a paternity test. Claims that means I think she could cheat on me and lie about it. She's got tears in her eyes now. Feel terrible because I never meant to hurt her. But also confused because she's twisting what I said. Tell her that's really not what I meant. Say I was talking about a general principle. She loses it at general principle. Asks if the general principle is that women can't be trusted. Wants to know if the general principle is that men have the right to question everything we say. This is getting nowhere. Every time I try to clarify, she makes it worse. Decide to try a different approach. Ask her what she would do if she were in Derek's position and had genuine doubts. She looks at me like I just asked her to punch a baby. Tells me she would never be in Derek's position because she's not a misogynist. Claims women don't go around questioning paternity because we understand trust and relationships. Says this is exactly the problem with toxic masculinity. Now I'm getting a little frustrated. Ask what if she genuinely had reasons to doubt. Want to know what if there were circumstances that made her uncertain. She tells me there are no circumstances that would justify that. Says either you trust your partner or you don't. Claims if you don't trust them, you shouldn't be with them. She's got a point there, actually. But something about her logic doesn't sit right with me. Can't quite put my finger on what. Ask if she's saying there's never a situation where verification is okay. Want to know if there's never any reason to want to be absolutely sure about something that important? She shouts no and says the fact that I keep pushing this proves her point. Claims I'm more concerned with my own insecurity than with respecting women. She storms into her bedroom and slams the door. I sit there for a while trying to figure out what just happened. Came in here thinking we'd have a nice evening. Now, apparently, I'm a misogynist for having an opinion. After about an hour, she comes back out. Her eyes are red, but she looks calmer. Tells me she's been thinking. Says she thinks I need to understand why what I said was so hurtful. Oh, great. Here comes the lecture. But I love this girl, so I listen. She sits down next to me and takes my hands. Explains that when I say I'd want a paternity test, what she hears is that I don't trust her. Tells me it makes her feel like I think she's capable of betraying me in the worst possible way. Asks if I can understand why that hurts. Actually, that does make sense when she puts it that way. Start to feel bad about the whole thing. Apologize and say, I really didn't mean it like that. Tell her I wasn't thinking about how it would make her feel. She smiles a little and squeezes my hands. Says she knows I didn't mean to hurt her. Explains this is why we need to think about these things more carefully. Tells me words have impact, even when we don't intend them to. Feeling like maybe we can work through this. She seems reasonable now that she's calmed down. Tell her she's right. I should have been more sensitive. Say I don't want her to feel like I don't trust her. She leans over and kisses my cheek. Thanks me for saying that. Explains this is why communication is so important in relationships. Think we've resolved it and things can go back to normal. Next morning at work, still thinking about last night, making lattes on autopilot while replaying the conversation. My coworker Marcus notices I'm distracted. Asks if everything's okay, tells me I look like shit. Explain about the paternity test argument. He just shakes his head. Says I stepped in it big time. Tells me never to question the feminist orthodoxy. That's like rule number 1. Lillian comes in around 10 a.m. for her usual cortado, acts like nothing happened, gives me a kiss over the counter, asks how my morning is going, relieved that things seem normal. But then she pulls out her phone while I'm making her drink. Says she found this great article about toxic masculinity she wants me to read. Explains it, talks about why men feel the need to control women's reproductive choices. Hands me a link to some blog called Intersectional Feminism Today. Read the title, Paternity Tests, the Ultimate Expression of Male Privilege. Oh, for fuck's sake. She's not letting this go. She's trying to educate me. Thank her and say I'll check it out later, hoping to avoid another lecture during my shift, but she's not done. Tells me it's really important that I understand the historical context, explains how women have been treated as property for centuries, says demanding paternity tests is just an extension of that ownership mentality. Customers are starting to line up behind her, but she doesn't seem to notice or care. Keeps talking while I'm trying to work. Goes on about how the article explains how internalized misogyny affects even well-meaning men. Says I might not realize I'm being sexist, but that doesn't make it okay. Basically calling me sexist while I'm trying to serve customers. Finally have to cut her off. Tell her I really need to focus on work right now. Ask if we can talk about this later. She looks slightly annoyed but agrees. Spend my lunch break actually reading the article she sent. It's exactly what you'd expect. Lots of academic jargon about patriarchal structures. Basically says any man who wants a paternity test is inherently sexist. But something weird happens while I'm reading. Start noticing logical holes in the arguments, like they never address the basic fairness issue. Just dismiss it as male privilege. Article keeps saying trust is the foundation of relationships. But then I remember how Lillian checks her bank statements obsessively, always counts her change at stores, makes me show her receipts when I buy something expensive. If trust is so important, why doesn't she just trust banks and cashiers? Why is verification okay for money, but not for paternity? Starting to see a pattern here. She comes back after my shift ends, wants to discuss the article over coffee. We sit at one of the corner tables, asks what I thought and if it helped me understand her perspective. Trying to be diplomatic, tell her it was interesting, definitely gave me things to think about. She lights up like I just validated her entire worldview. Says she knew I'd get it once I read some actual feminist theory. Explains the problem is most men never educate themselves about these issues. Then she launches into this whole speech about how society conditions men to be controlling. Talks about how we need to unlearn toxic masculinity. Goes on about how emotional labor falls disproportionately on women. Nod along while she talks. But internally, I'm getting more confused. Because she's talking about emotional labor, while making me do all the emotional labor of listening to her lecture. After about 30 minutes of this, she checks her phone. Says she has to run to a meeting about the campus consent workshop. Tells me she's so proud of me for being open to learning. Gives me a patronizing pat on the head like I'm a dog. Sit there after she leaves feeling weird about the whole interaction. She treated me like I was some ignorant caveman who needed enlightenment. But I'm the one who apologized yesterday. I'm the one who read her article. I'm the one doing all the work to fix this. Walk home thinking about the double standards thing. She wants me to trust her completely about hypothetical pregnancy. But she doesn't trust waiters to add up a check correctly. Wants me to educate myself about feminism, but dismisses my perspective as inherently invalid. Get a text from her that evening. Says she found another great article about deconstructing masculine entitlement. Tells me it's really going to help me understand myself better. She's sending me homework now. Click the link out of curiosity. It's about how men need to sit with discomfort when women share their experiences. Explains how we're not allowed to defend ourselves or explain our side. Says we just have to accept that we're probably wrong. This is starting to feel like a re-education program. Like she's trying to reprogram my brain to think the way she wants. Decide to test something. Text her back asking if she wants to split dinner tomorrow. Say I'll cook if she brings groceries. See what she says about actual equality in practice. Her response says that's sweet, but she's tight on money right now. Suggests maybe I could just make something and she'll bring wine. Translation: I'll spend $40 on groceries, she'll spend $8 on wine. But didn't she just get paid from her job at the college? And didn't she buy those expensive boots last week? Starting to notice she's only broke when it comes to paying for things with me. Next day at work, Marcus asks how things are going. Tell him about the articles and the dinner thing. He says she's gaslighting me. Claims she's making me think I'm crazy for having normal thoughts. Don't want to admit he might be right. But the seed is planted. Start paying more attention to her behavior patterns. She comes in that afternoon with her friend Jenny. They're talking loudly about some guy Jenny went on a date with. Jenny complains he expected her to split the bill. Says she can't believe that, like he asked her out so he should pay. But wait, didn't Lillian just say she was too broke to buy groceries? And she always talks about how women should be financially independent. But apparently men should still pay for dates? Jenny continues saying she told him real men take care of women. Claims if he can't afford to treat her properly, he shouldn't be dating. Lillian is nodding along enthusiastically. I'm making their drinks, trying not to react. But this is exactly opposite of everything she lectured me about. Yesterday, it was about dismantling gender roles. Today, it's about men needing to provide. They don't seem to notice the contradiction. Or maybe they just don't care, as long as it benefits them in the moment. After they leave, I'm more confused than ever. She wants equality when it comes to respect and trust, but traditional gender roles when it comes to money and effort. And I'm the asshole for noticing this? That evening, she comes over with a bottle of 2-buck chuck. I've already spent an hour cooking dinner. She walks in, kicks off her shoes, and flops on my couch. Complains about what a day she had. Says the patriarchy is exhausting. Tells me Jenny's date was such a typical toxic male. Says he made her pay for her own food, like she's some kind of buddy. Serve her the dinner I cooked. She digs in without saying thanks. Tells me this is good. I should cook more often. Says it's nice when men contribute to domestic labor. Wait, I contribute? I did all of it. She contributed a $3 bottle of wine. But somehow, I'm the one who needs to contribute more. Decide to push back gently. Suggest she could always help cook next time. Say we could make it a team effort. She gives me a look like I just suggested something crazy. Tells me I know she can barely boil water. Says besides, cooking is therapeutic for me. Claims she contributes in other ways. Ask what ways. Genuinely curious what her contribution is. She says emotional support, obviously. Explains she helps me process my feelings and grow as a person. So she gets free meals, and I get lectures about my toxic masculinity. What a fair trade. After dinner, she wants to watch a documentary about reproductive rights. Sits curled up against me while talking about bodily autonomy. Explains no one should have the right to question a woman's choices about her body. Says it's fundamentally about control and ownership. I'm listening, but also thinking about the grocery thing and the dinner thing, and how she controls what we watch, what we talk about, what I'm supposed to think. She falls asleep during the movie. I sit there looking at her, wondering how we got to this point. 8 months ago, she seemed so reasonable. Now I feel like I'm walking on eggshells constantly. Week goes by and the pattern continues. Lillian keeps sending me articles about unlearning toxic behavior. Meanwhile, I'm paying for everything and doing all the emotional work, getting tired of being treated like a reformation project. Friday night, she wants to go to some fancy wine bar downtown, place where glasses cost $15 each, suggests it like it's no big deal. Says she heard this new place Cellar 42 is amazing. Know this is going to cost me at least $100. But whatever. Maybe a nice evening will help us reconnect. Pick her up and we head over. She orders immediately without looking at prices. Gets some expensive Pinot Grigio. I stick with beer to try to keep costs down. She gives me a look. Asks why I'm getting beer at a wine bar. Says this is why she wanted to come here, to try new things. So now I'm obligated to order wine too. While we're waiting for drinks, she starts talking about her coworker Amanda. Goes on about how Amanda's boyfriend is such a catch. Tells me he just bought her a weekend trip to Napa for her birthday. Says that's how you know someone really cares about you. Subtle hint, much? My birthday gift to her was a $200 necklace she picked out. Her birthday gift to me was a book about feminist theory. Drinks arrive, and she immediately orders an appetizer. Then another glass of wine. Talks about how liberated she feels when she doesn't have to worry about money. Says it's so nice to just enjoy herself without stress. Yeah. Must be real nice not worrying about money when someone else is paying. Meanwhile, I'm calculating tips and wondering if I'll make rent. Conversation somehow turns back to the paternity test thing. Apparently, she's been thinking about it more. Tells me she's been reading about this issue. Says, did I know that in France, paternity tests are illegal without court orders? Ask her why that is. Genuinely curious about the reasoning. Explains because they recognize that it destroys families and relationships. Says it creates an atmosphere of suspicion and mistrust. Claims the government decided protecting family bonds was more important than male anxiety. That actually sounds kind of authoritarian to me. But decide to probe a little deeper. Ask what if there's actual evidence of infidelity. Want to know if people shouldn't have the right to know the truth. She waves her hand dismissively. Asks what kind of evidence I mean. Says like what? A man's paranoid suspicions? Claims that's usually what it comes down to. Order another round while thinking about this. Ask about actual evidence, like if someone admitted to cheating. Mention witnesses, or text messages, or something concrete. She's getting that look again, the one she had during our original fight. Asks why I'm so obsessed with this. Says we resolved this already, but we didn't really resolve it. She just made me feel guilty, and I apologized. Decide to be more direct this time. Tell her I'm not obsessed. I'm just trying to understand her logic. Point out that she said trust is everything in relationships. Mention she doesn't trust waiters, or banks, or mechanics. Ask why this is different. Long pause while she stares at me. Can see the wheels turning in her head. Says those are completely different situations. Claims we're talking about intimate relationships, not business transactions. Ask if the principle isn't the same, though. Point out that verification doesn't mean you don't trust someone. Explain it just means you want to be certain about important things. She's getting agitated now. Voice getting louder, even though we're in public. Says, no, it's not the same principle. Claims when you question paternity, you're questioning a woman's fundamental honesty. Insists you're reducing her to a potential liar and cheater. Other people are starting to look over. Try to keep my voice calm. Ask what if the woman actually did cheat. Want to know if she's saying that never happens. Mistake. Huge mistake. Her face goes completely red. Asks if I'm fucking kidding her right now. Wants to know if I'm seriously suggesting that she would cheat on me. Says after everything we've been through. Scrambling to backtrack. Tell her that's not what I'm saying at all. Explain I'm talking about general principles, not about her specifically. She calls bullshit and says I keep bringing this up. Points out first it was about my hypothetical future kids. Says now I'm talking about evidence of cheating. Asks what's next. Am I going to demand to see her phone? She's full on yelling now. Everyone in the wine bar is staring. Bartender looks like he wants to intervene. Ask her to please calm down. Tell her I'm not accusing her of anything. Ask if we can just discuss this rationally. She explodes at the word rationally, says there's nothing rational about my obsession with controlling women, claims this is exactly what toxic masculinity looks like. She stands up abruptly, grabs her purse, says she's going to the bathroom, tells me when she comes back, we're talking about something else, or she's leaving. Sit there for 10 minutes, wondering what the hell just happened. All I did was ask about logical consistency. Somehow that makes me a controlling misogynist. She comes back looking composed but cold, sits down without making eye contact, tells me she's been thinking, says she thinks I need therapy. Ask her therapy for what? Says for my trust issues and internalized misogyny. Claims this obsession with paternity tests isn't normal. Insists healthy men don't think about this stuff. Now I'm getting angry. Spent the last week reading her articles and being lectured, paid for every date, every meal, every drink. And now I need therapy because I asked a logical question? Tell her what's not normal is expecting your boyfriend to pay for everything while lecturing him about equality. Point out she talks about financial independence while being financially dependent. Her mouth drops open. Clearly wasn't expecting me to push back. Says that's completely different. Claims she contributes to this relationship in other ways. Ask her like what? Want to know like sending me articles about how terrible men are? Ask if making me feel guilty for having opinions counts. Wonder if explaining why I'm wrong about everything is her contribution. She's sputtering now, looking for words. Says she helps me grow as a person. Claims she challenges my problematic thinking. Insists that's emotional labor. Ask her if emotional labor means lecturing. Tell her because that's what this feels like. Explain she talks. I listen. I apologize. Repeat. She's getting defensive now. Can see her trying to regroup. Says I'm being really unfair right now. Claims she's trying to help me understand important social issues. Insists the fact that I see education as lecturing is part of the problem. But I'm not backing down this time. Finally feeling like I can speak my mind. Ask her about fairness. Want to know if it's fair that I pay for everything while she talks about equality. Ask if it's fair that my feelings don't matter, but hers always do. She says my feelings do matter, but then adds when my feelings are based on sexist assumptions. Explains she can't validate ideas that are harmful to women. There it is. My feelings only matter when they align with her worldview. Otherwise, they're automatically invalid. Ask if my perspective is worthless because I'm male. Want to know if I'm automatically wrong about everything. Ask how that's equality. She's getting frustrated now. Probably because her usual tactics aren't working. Says it's not about being male, it's about privilege. Claims I have blind spots because of my social position. Insists she's helping me see them. Ask if she never acknowledges that she might have blind spots too. Point out she never considers that she might be wrong about something. Want to know how that's not privilege. Long silence while she processes this. Can see her trying to figure out how to respond. Finally, she just shakes her head. Says she can't believe we're even having this conversation. Claims the fact that I'm comparing male privilege to feminist consciousness. Insists it just shows how much work I still need to do. And there's the deflection. Instead of addressing my point, she's making it about my inadequacy. Classic move to avoid accountability. Decide to try one more approach. Ask if she thinks there's anything she could be wrong about. Want to know if any feminist idea might not be 100% correct. Ask if there's any situation where my perspective might be valid. She thinks for a moment, looking like she's actually considering it. Then her face hardens. Says when it comes to issues affecting women, no. Claims women have lived experience that men simply don't have. Insists my perspective on female oppression isn't really relevant. So my thoughts and feelings literally don't matter because of my gender. But somehow, I'm the sexist one. Finish my drink and signal for the check. $127 for 2 hours of being told I'm irrelevant. Great deal. Walk to the car in complete silence. She's clearly expecting me to apologize again, like I always do after these fights, but this time feels different. Drive her home without saying a word. When we get to her place, she turns to me, asks if I'm going to come up, says we should probably talk about tonight. Tell her I think I need some space to process this. Her face changes immediately, asks process what? What's there to process? Tell her just everything. Mention the way these conversations always go. Say how my opinions never seem to matter. She gets defensive again. Says my opinions matter when they're not harmful. Claims she can't pretend to respect ideas that hurt women. Insists that would make her complicit. So we're back to square one. Anything she disagrees with is automatically harmful. Convenient way to never have to consider other viewpoints. Tell her good night. She sits there for a moment, looking confused. Probably expected me to cave like usual. Asks if that's it. Am I just going to leave angry? Tell her I'm not angry. I'm tired. Say I'm tired of having to apologize for existing. Explain. I'm tired of being wrong about everything. Get out and walk around to open her door. Basic courtesy, even when I'm frustrated. She gets out but doesn't say thank you. Just stands there looking hurt. She tells me she loves me, but says she can't be with someone who doesn't respect women. Claims if I can't see how problematic my thinking is. And there's the ultimatum. Submit to her worldview or lose the relationship. Change my fundamental beliefs or she's gone. Tell her I'll call her tomorrow. Drive home feeling emotionally drained, but also strangely relieved. Like I finally spoke my truth for once. Don't call her the next day like I said I would, or the day after that. Honestly, just don't give a shit anymore. Feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. She texts me around noon on Saturday, says we need to talk and this silent treatment is childish. Silent treatment? I said I'd call tomorrow, not today. Delete the message without responding. Work my Saturday shift at the cafe feeling lighter somehow. Marcus notices I seem different, asks if things are better with the Feminist. Tell him I think things are over. He just nods and says, "Good for you, man." She shows up at the cafe around 2 p.m. Tries to act casual, but I can see she's stressed. Orders her usual cortado, but her hands are shaking slightly. Asks if we can talk when I get off work. Tell her I'm busy tonight. She asks about tomorrow. Tell her I'm busy then too. Her face falls, and she realizes I'm serious. She hangs around the cafe for another hour, keeps glancing over at me while I work. Finally leaves when other customers start looking annoyed. Sends me 3 texts that evening asking what's wrong. Sunday, she calls me 6 times. Let it go to voicemail every time. Listen to the messages later, out of curiosity. First few are her trying to sound understanding. Says she knows I need space, but we should communicate. Claims healthy relationships require open dialogue. Last message is different, though. She's crying, and her voice is shaking. Says she doesn't understand what she did wrong. Begs me to just talk to her for 5 minutes. Tells me she loves me and misses me. Almost feel bad for a second. Then remember the wine bar and her ultimatum. Delete all the messages. Monday morning, she's waiting outside my apartment. Must have been there since like 6 a.m. I leave for work at 7:30, and she jumps up from the steps. Looks like she slept in her car. Starts following me down the street, talking rapidly. Says she's been thinking about our fight. Claims she might have been too harsh. Insists we can work through this if we just communicate. Keep walking without responding. She's practically jogging to keep up with me. Says she brought me a book about healthy relationship communication. Pulls out some self-help paperback from her purse. Stop walking and look at her. Tell her I don't want the book. Say I don't want to work through anything. Explain I'm done with this relationship. Her face goes white. Asks what I mean by done. Wants to know if this is about the paternity test thing. Says she's willing to compromise on that. Compromise? Now she's willing to compromise? Too little, too late. Tell her it's not about one argument. Explain it's about the pattern of behavior. She starts getting desperate, says she can change, claims she didn't realize how her actions were affecting me, insists she just wants what's best for both of us. Ask her what's best for me according to her. She starts listing things, says I should be more emotionally open, claims I need to educate myself about social justice, insists I should be more financially generous. So even her idea of what's best for me is just me changing to suit her. Tell her that's exactly the problem. Explain I'm tired of being a project to fix. Say I want a partner, not a life coach. Now she's getting angry. The mask is starting to slip. Asks if I'm seriously throwing away 8 months over some stupid fight. Wants to know if I'm really that immature. There it is. When emotional manipulation doesn't work, she goes to insults. Tell her, yeah, I guess I am that immature. Say maybe she should find a more mature guy who enjoys being lectured. She follows me all the way to the cafe. Customers are staring as she stands outside the window gesticulating. Marcus has to come out and ask her to leave. She finally goes, but not before shouting that I'm making a huge mistake. Wednesday, she sends me a long email, like 2,000 words about our relationship. Starts off apologetic, but quickly becomes accusatory. Blames our breakup on my inability to handle strong women. Says I'm intimidated by her intelligence and independence. Claims I can't cope with being challenged intellectually. Insists most men are threatened by feminist women. Ends by saying she hopes I find someone more on my level. Forward the email to Marcus. He reads it and just laughs. Says she's totally losing her shit. Tells me to block her on everything before she gets worse. Thursday, she shows up at my apartment again. This time, she's brought Jenny for moral support. They corner me as I'm coming home from work. Jenny immediately starts lecturing me about how I'm hurting Lillian. Says Lillian has been crying for days. Claims I'm being cruel and heartless. Insists real men don't just abandon women like this. Asks how I can be so selfish. Tell them both I'm not interested in getting back together. Jenny gets in my face and calls me a typical toxic male. Says Lillian deserves so much better than me. Claims I never appreciated what I had. Lillian is standing behind Jenny crying, but not saying anything. Probably realized her friend is making things worse. I push past them and go into my building. Friday evening, she tries a different approach. Shows up with flowers and my favorite takeout. Says she made a reservation at that Italian place I like. Claims she wants to start over and do things right. Tell her through the door that I'm not interested. She starts crying again. Says she knows she made mistakes, but she's learned from them. Insists she just needs one more chance to prove herself. Ignore her and turn up my TV. She sits outside my door for 3 hours. Neighbors are starting to complain. Finally call building security to have her removed. Saturday morning, my phone starts buzzing at 6 a.m. She's calling from different numbers, probably borrowed phones from friends. Answer one call just to tell her to stop. She immediately starts talking fast, says she knows I'm screening her calls, claims she just wants to explain her side, insists if I would just listen, she could make me understand. Tell her there's nothing to understand. Explain I've heard everything she has to say. Say I'm not interested in her explanations or apologies. Hang up and block that number too. Sunday, she posts on social media about toxic relationships. Can see it because Jenny shared it. Long post about men who can't handle feminist women. Talks about emotional immaturity and male fragility. Doesn't mention me by name, but it's obviously about us. All her feminist friends are commenting with support, calling me pathetic and saying she's better off without me. Whatever. Let them think what they want. Monday, she tries one last desperate move. Shows up at the cafe with her mom. Apparently told her mom some sob story about our relationship. The mom tries to convince me to give Lillian another chance. Says young people break up too easily these days. Claims relationships take work and compromise. Insists Lillian really loves me and made some mistakes. Asks if I can't find it in my heart to forgive her. Feel bad for the mom, but tell her it's over. Explain Lillian, and I want different things. Say we're not compatible, and it's better to end it now. The mom looks disappointed, but doesn't push. Lillian is waiting by my car when I get off work. One last attempt at reconciliation. Starts off calm and rational. Says she's been doing a lot of self-reflection. Claims she realizes she was being controlling. Insists she wants to be a better partner. Says she's even willing to go to couples therapy. Asks if we can just try being friends for now. Tell her no to all of it. Explain I don't want to be friends. Say I don't want her in my life at all. Ask her to please just leave me alone. That's when the mask completely comes off. She stops crying, and her voice gets cold. Calls me a fucking idiot for throwing away someone like her. Says I'll never find anyone as good as her. Claims I'm just another mediocre guy who can't handle a real woman. Insists I'll end up with some basic bitch who doesn't challenge me. Says when I'm alone and miserable, I'll realize what I lost. Tells me I'm pathetic and she wasted 8 months on me. Says she should have known better than to date a barista. Claims she was slumming it and lowering her standards. There's the real Lillian. Not the victim, not the concerned girlfriend. Just an entitled narcissist who can't believe someone rejected her. Tell her she's right. I am just a mediocre barista. Say she should definitely find someone more worthy of her greatness. Suggest maybe someone who enjoys being told how terrible they are. She stands there for a moment, looking shocked. Probably expected me to get angry or defensive. Instead, I just get in my car and drive away. See her in my rearview mirror standing there alone. Block her on everything that night. Phone, social media, email, all of it. Change my number the next day just to be sure. Never hear from her again. Marcus asks how I feel about the whole thing. Tell him honestly, relieved. Realize I'd been walking on eggshells for months. Feels good to just be myself again without constant judgment. 2 weeks later, see her at a coffee shop across town. She's with some new guy, already lecturing him about something while he nods along. Poor bastard has no idea what he's in for. She sees me and immediately starts talking louder, obviously trying to make me jealous. Her new boyfriend looks confused by her sudden animation. I just order my coffee and leave. Few months later, hear through mutual friends, she got dumped again. Apparently, the new guy got tired of being educated too. She's already posted about it on social media. Another story about toxic men who can't handle strong women. Funny how it's always the guys who are the problem. Never occurs to her that maybe she's the common denominator, but that's her issue now, not mine.